Alright folks, well, what I'm going to show you, wherever I go in Christian circles, youth groups and all that, I always end up doing this demo, and most of the guys and girls enjoy it. With me, I did 21 years in the Army. The Army does do a lot of survival courses, and in the Army we're always trying to occupy our soldiers, and we run out of ideas. So I just grabbed the Army survival book and I showed you how to do all this. So I just practiced and ended up learning to do it, then taught other soldiers, and it's just a bit of fun, basically. So there's two methods I'll show you today, and the first one is the hand drill, and the second one, the easier one, is the bow drill. So what I've got to start with...
Any special sort of wood there, or what's
best? I'll explain that. So, does everyone know the old blackboard tree or the grass tree? Xanthia. So that's the stalk that grows up, it stands up, it's got the black stump, and it's got usually has a flower head. So these things die off, and they grow another one every year, so you don't destroy the plant for anyone who's a greenie at heart. These things grow all different thicknesses. Alright, so if you're really going to use this in a survival situation, you'd let yourself down. You should have a lighter on you anyway. So, all right. So, but it's not as, you know, for a bit of practice, it's not that hard. Anyone can do it. But by far, I always call this stuff God's gift to Aboriginals, because it grows all around Australia. Probably not so much out here. Out here, you probably use acacia trees. You wouldn't use gum trees. It's got too much sap in it. It's really hard to get a light, but this stuff by far is the best stuff in Australia, and it's all over Australia, Western Australia, New South Wales, everywhere. And it's about the right thickness. Probably a little bit thicker would be good, but it's strong enough. I shouldn't snap it, and I should get it cold. All right, so that's one part of it for the hand drill. And ideally, you could work with it a little bit shorter. But you'll see that I get a bit of a run-off with this when I get into it. So that's one part of the hand drill, so that's from a blackboard tree. And then the other part, that's the hearth board, all right, that's where the fire is stimulated. Okay, you can get blackboard tree, so it's thicker. So that's from an actual African tulip tree. It's got the big orange flowers, so it's an African tree, but there's heaps of them all around Queensland and whatever. So I'll use that today. You can see the big important thing. Oh, I'm talking, okay. Some of you people mightn't see everything, but yeah. You can see I've used this stick before. All right, and you can see it's got a distinct black circle. But what you must have, or you just won't get a fire, is that notch. All right, that actually collects the hot ash that's generated when you're spinning it. Okay, so the first thing you do, and you can do this with, don't necessarily have to have a rock, it's a bit slower, but you've got to make a notch, all right, a starting point to get that circle, all right? So I'll make a notch, I'll spin it around, and I'm aiming to get that black circle, and then I'll cut the bee in, all right? And this also gives me a bit of second wind as well. So I'll just put that notch in. You don't want to go too deep. Centre punch. It's just to make the stick stay in place. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
You couldn't find that particular species you could use, anything that's sort of medium density dry.
Yeah, the best woods to use is the lighter the wood, the better.
Lighter, okay.
Yeah, so this is, generally speaking, if you can put your thumbnail and make a dent in the wood,
it's okay.
It's good to use it a bit quicker. You can use hardwood, and you don't have to have a softwood and a hardwood. They can be both the same grain.
Yeah.
You're better off having the same grain. It's more compatible when they mix up to make the dust.
Very good.
All right, so there's a bit of a dent, and then I'll, with this end, obviously the aim is to create friction. So I still want it flat, but I don't want it to pop out. So I've just put a bit of a bevel around the side. Also, I've just trimmed off the outer casing because that's harder. All right, that could knock around the hot ash, all right? So when you do this, you can sit down and do it. You can put your foot down like this, all right? So I'm just going to make sure it's not going to pop out. That should be pretty good. And I want enough room left so I can put that V in the side there as well, and so you don't have it completely central. Okay, so the next thing I do, just get it firm. You don't want it to move. Okay, I can put my foot on there. I can sit down and do it. Because I'm a bit older now, I just do it a bit easier on myself. This wood here, if you guys can see it all, that'll hold the board down for me. Because that'll allow me to do it. That'll allow me to just go straight down like that. That way I'm putting my full force of my body down. It's easier. And it's easier for me to breathe and so forth. And the big thing is I can get right down like this and hopefully get the fire going quicker, okay? So all I'm trying to achieve at this stage is just that nice circle, and then have a rest, gives me a chance to get a second wind. So it's not slipping out, the board's not moving. And you just gradually build up speed. And I know I can get right down like so, and you go quickly back up the top, start again. You can see the smoke now. So just by that bit of smoke, it tells me hopefully it will work because I've got a bit of dark stain there and there, so hopefully I will get a fire going. And also it's made a nice circle. So the next thing I want to do, it's got a nice circle so that I can line up the V notch a lot easier. Again, you can, if this is all you got, a flake off a rock, you can, with a bit of time, put just can't really settle a notch there. I'm not going to waste your time, I'll use a little hacksaw blade. Or you can use a knife or whatever you got. So if the right tools doesn't take too long, so I've got a bit of a V there, I'll just tidy it up. And the whole idea, I want to make this a nice clean drop for the hot ash so it drops down to the bottom. I've got to make it wide enough so the actual hot ash can breathe. Everyone knows you need oxygen to pump up your fire. And the tip of the V is just sort of in a bit, all right, so it's got a chance to spin around and drop down. So the wood's not split and all that sort of stuff. the V isn't that big that hopefully the stick won't slip out as I'm spinning it. So, and also the wood is about the right thickness, all right? So it's all, like anything, it's all in the right preparation, all right? So the next stage, with the hot ash, I'm going to have something to collect it with. I can use a leaf, this bit of bark will do. And so I'll put that in place. So that goes directly under the V. Now at this stage I can put in a bit of whatever I had, sawdust, bits of dried grass. I could put in dried kangaroo poo or rabbit poo, but you don't really need it. But obviously this is only one stage of trying to get a fire without matches and all that sort of stuff. So I've got to make sure I've got things prepped. Because when I get a hot ash, and with a small stick like that, it'll probably be the size of about the end of a cigarette burning. That's what I'm hoping to get. And then I'll transfer that onto, I'll just drop it into here, this dried grass. Hopefully it's dry enough. And from there, then it just takes a bit of time, right? You don't, once you get the hot ash, you can take your time, it'll burn for a while. And then you slowly blow on that so it just doesn't blow everywhere, and I'll blow the act, okay? And it hopefully should flame up, all right? So that's good to go, and I've learned from past mistakes like just holding it here, it flames up, yeah, and then I'm putting out a small fire, right? So that's my safety plan, the bottle of water. So it's not metho, all right? So I can just hold it like that, yeah. All right, so, now just because it's survival, I'll try and make it as easy on myself as I can by using my knees. Because remember that the idea, I want to get down as far as I can. I really want to get this thing going. So, as I'm doing it, I don't want to start off too quick. I actually want bits of sawdust to build up down there. Because the bigger the pile I get down there, the easier it's going to be when I do my tinder bundle. And I'm trying to really press down hard. Straight away go up to the top. And you want copious amounts of smoke coming out. Probably won't talk after this. And you wait till it's burning by itself, which it seems to be doing. And you don't have to rush it, which is good, because I'm puffing. You don't want to, this is going to be very careful here. So there it is. Don't breathe on it. I'll come back to you.
Magic.
Find out which way the wind's blowing and put your head the opposite way. I'm still puffing.
Now, if that was marijuana.
I'll be stoked. So a lot of people seem to think it takes like half an hour, but it doesn't really.
Or 3 days on Survivor.
And that's with matches. All right, Tyrone Olympics. All right. So hopefully that would start whatever fire you needed, because if you've got fire, you can purise your water, you can cook food, you can signal for helicopters. That's all that stuff. On an army survival course, if you don't get fire, you don't pass the course. So all it needs is oxygen, the way it goes. It's Mepho, watch out, no. That's to keep Mark happy. Okay, so that was the hand drill method, but there's an easier method. As you can see the bows there, that gives you the mechanical advantage. So the Egyptians used this method I was going to show you. Probably Jesus might have even used this method, all right, especially being a carpenter. All right, might have some sort of bow drill implements as well. So what you need for that, obviously is a bow, all right. This one I've sort of specialised over time. I've drilled holes in it, and it just makes it easier for me to adjust, all right, as opposed to untying it, making it tight or loose and then tying it up again. So that's just a quick adjust one, all right. And that's cotton, all right, but I've made rope from inner bark of trees and all that sort of stuff. But they generally only last, probably get 2 or 3 fires in them if you're lucky. And it takes like a couple of hours to make a decent bit of cordage by using plating methods and all that. All right, I've also got another one, that's just parachute cord. That's also excellent stuff, all right. And you tend to have that with you anyway in the forces. Okay, also, obviously you need a board again, all right? And I've flattened it down like the other one to make it stable. And I've already put a dent in it anyway, just to speed things up, because I'm sure you get the general idea. Okay, there's for the black boy tree, it's a bit thicker, and that's a bit impractical to use as a hand drill. Sometimes, some black boys, the stalks aren't straight, and you only get segments like that that are straight. So if that's what you got, then you're better off doing it on a bow drill, all right? However, having said that, you can still cut a bit of this off and make something like that, okay? So that's just a straight, probably straight green stalk and tied together, and I've just put a V-notch up there, all right? So you can improvise, all right? Because it's only short, I need to weigh it down, so I use a handle. Preferably the wood's a little bit harder, all right? And you put a hole in that, obviously to keep the top of it in place, all right? So I'll be pressing down like that. All right, it can be longer, it can be smaller. You can use bone, you can use the knee bones of cattle. You can use antler, all that sort of stuff. You can use rocks. It's a good idea because this end you don't want any friction, so you can put whatever you got, green leaves, spin in it, bit of candle wax, eel wax, not a snail, a grub, anything that'll lubricate, all right? And this is the business end. Again, it's flat as I can get it, but it's slightly beveled, so it won't slip out of a hole. This end is sharper, so it creates less friction, and it's easier for me to spin the thing, which you'll see, all right? So again, I'll start off and I'll just make a nice black circle and make sure that the wood's going to burn. It should do, all right? Now to put this on here, you just get the point end on top like that, hold it, just flip it over, all right, and you make a loop like that. The loop's on the outside, so it doesn't get caught in the bow up here and here, all right? And it wouldn't want to be, I'll probably have to tighten that. It probably want to be a little bit tighter, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so when I do this, there's only one real way to do it, and that's put your knee on it like so, fairly close so it's not going to move. And you'll see I'll need to put because I'm right-handed, I'll put my left forearm up against the machine because things can get wobbly. And ideally the stick needs to be as straight as it can be. If it's a bit bent, it's going to wobble and hard to control. So I'm pressing down, I've got my left forearm on my shin in place, locked in place. Put a bit of pressure, not too much. And that's it. And already we've got smoke. So that's telling me it should be good. All right, this is going to be, I reckon this will work real quick. So again, I've got to have the V notch or I won't get a fire. So there you go, it doesn't take long. If you just got a rock to use, well obviously it's a little bit longer, but it still gets done. So I clean it up. Lock my forearm in. I'm trying to keep that stick as straight as possible. And not too much pressure, otherwise it won't spin. So, and then I can increase the pressure once I get my momentum. I'm trying to keep this bow parallel to the ground. The bigger pile of burning ash I get, the better. So yeah, it's burning by itself, that's good. And you can see it only doesn't take long. No.
When do you put the petrol on?
Well, there's no need to. Yeah. So you can see, if you remember the last one, that's like twice as big. I'm not going to bother about flaming up again. I'm sure by now you get the general idea. That will burn probably for quite a while anyway. Just don't let the wind blow it away. So that's it.
Well done.
Thank you. So, if anyone wants to know more, have a go when no one's looking or whatever. I'm here, just to give a few hints about it. So, hope you enjoyed it. And it's just something I share. Yeah.
Well done.